Hi there, my name's Steve Newton. I've just written a book for you called Cancer, What Is It? How do you get cancer? And what is the best cancer treatment? And I'd like to share with you a little bit about how this book came into being. First of all, let me say, I don't have cancer, nor do I ever intend to get cancer. But a good friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2000. She underwent 5 years of conventional therapy, during which time she lost her husband, she lost her business, and she was socially alienated by friends and family. And then in 2005, she was diagnosed terminal. At that point, she said, I'd rather die than go through that again. But I don't want to die. I've got too much to live for. So she sought out some alternative treatments. And I'm happy to say that at the time of release of this book, July 2012, she's still going strong. So in order to better understand her situation, I asked myself 3 questions. You guessed it. Cancer, what is it? How do you get cancer? What is the best treatment? And I'd like to share with you a little bit about what I've learned that could save your life or possibly the life of someone you love. I've learned a few interesting things about cancer while researching for my book, Cancer, What Is It? How do you get cancer? And what is the best cancer treatment? It's available at cancerwhatisit.com. I wrote this book to help me. It's the result of the research I did for myself to help me with my cancer prevention planning. But I also wrote it to help you. I think there's some things that you should know about cancer prevention and cancer treatment that could save your life or that of someone you love. Things that aren't promoted by many conventional medical practitioners. Cancer treatments generally fall under the category of either conventional or alternative treatments. These are fairly broad categories, that's for sure. So this short video is intended to give you a little bit of insight into what conventional treatments are about. We've all heard of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. Now there's a bunch more, but these 3 are at the core of Western medicine cancer treatment practices. And anyone who knows someone who's been through any of these knows that the treatment and recovery phases from either of these 3 can be very, very nasty. Now, if you're any sort of conspiracy theorist, you may buy into that notion that Big Pharma, the government, and the universities are all in cahoots to keep the cancer industry alive. Given that it's worth many hundreds of billions of dollars a year globally, that's an easy thing to believe. But that's not what this is about. There's a bit in the book about it to give you some context so that you're more informed about all the issues when you're making your decision. What it is about is making you more aware of what these treatments can do for you so you can make your best choice. One of the main themes in this book is that you should always get a second opinion. To my way of thinking, a big part of that is being as informed as you can be. Remember, 50% of all doctors finished in the bottom half of their class, and we've all heard horror stories about people who didn't get a second opinion. If you or someone close to you is diagnosed with cancer, a good informed second opinion can make the difference between an inaccurate diagnosis with the wrong treatments and an accurate diagnosis with the best treatments. It can literally make the difference between life or death. So if your doctor sends you to a specialist who recommends one of the conventional treatments, ask some questions. There's a section in the book that suggests some questions to ask. There's a pretty good chance that your doctor will condemn the alternative cancer treatments. Most doctors automatically lump them into the category of scams because that's what they've been taught in medical school. But aren't you the least bit curious about why, for example, that historically the Chinese have had no recorded history of cancer? They didn't have chemo or radiation back then. They had green tea and a host of other natural food sources. Aren't you a little bit curious to know that there's a certain level in the body, pH, at which cancer cells can't survive, and that there's a chance it can be achieved through diet? Maybe you're a bit curious about why some of the Eastern and traditional medical cancer treatments have much higher success rates than the more conventional ones in the Western medicine. Get a second opinion. Become more informed so that you can make the best decision that's right for you. I've written a book to help you understand what cancer is. I've written a book to save you a bunch of work and time. My book, Cancer, What Is It? How do you get cancer? and what is the best cancer treatment is a practical guide to several things that you may want to consider in your research. For about the same price as a fast food meal, which ironically may contribute to causing cancer, you get practical information on what cancer is and how the body deals with it, how to prevent cancer using things that are within your control, the pros and cons of conventional and alternative cancer treatments, the importance of detoxification and nutrition in fighting and preventing cancer, some tips around cancer survivorship and living with the cancer patient, and I have first-hand experience with that. Some information around end-of-life planning. I also have first-hand experience with that. And at the end of the book, there's a useful list of web resources to start your own research with. So what if just one thing in this book leads you to discover something that could save your life or the life of someone you love? What if just one thing in this book leads you to living a full, happy life free of cancer? Consider the alternative. Take control of your life now. My book, Cancer, What Is It? How Do You Get Cancer? And What is the Best Cancer Treatment? Is available at cancerwhatisit.com. Thank you.